Hello, SpeedGaming, and welcome to this Link to the Past Randomizer League playoff match between Kinda Rando Retired and I Like Big Boots. Big Boots has the lead 1-0. Relkin got the victory this afternoon in an Ambrosia match. This is the Pendant of Power matchup where the higher seed of Kinda Rando Retired got to pick the settings, and I Like Big Boots had a veto. So Kinda Rando Retired, in terms of Kyong, picked this seed of all dungeons, Inverted Swordless Key Sanity. It's gonna be a fun one. My name is Mind of Me. Joining me on comms tonight is Anticium. Anticium, how you feeling about this seed?
Oh, it's gonna be a long one, so let's strap in for tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
So just as a reminder, all dungeons means all crystals, all pendants, AGA 1 and AGA 2. Swordless means exactly what it means, swordless. So to cast medallions, you can only do it on medallion spaces, and you require the hammer. Curtains in Skullwoods and AGA Tower are pre-cut, and you will be using the hammer on Ganon. Inverted is the more complicated one, and Key Sanity, of course, means that all the small keys, big keys, maps, and compasses are shuffled in the game. We'll explain a little bit more about the Inverted as the match goes on, but you'll see right away when we start, we have this option from Link's House or Dark Chapel. Anticium, what do you know about Inverted?
So Inverted, yeah, you start in the Dark World, and you need that Moon Pearl in order to get to the Light World. And so you could see some 3-heart blinds or an early fire rod making you do a 4-heart, a Skullwood. So you never know what you're going to see, but there's going to be some hard boss fights coming up.
Occasionally, however, Key Sanity kind of negates that, because you would need to find both that big key for Thieves Town right away. So generally what you find is that it is early Light World access or early Mountain access leading to AGA. And even then, for AGA 1, you've got to find those Castle Tower small keys.
And we are off. And we're starting at Dark Chapel and Link's House separately, though. And also, we will need that bug net this seed, because it is swordless to fight AGA 2 and AGA 1. You can do it with the hammer, but it can be very, very difficult.
Yeah, hammer is not pleasant. zer0rush showing the usual, well, Inverted isn't played a lot, but the common Inverted play of scouting Bumper Ledge and then going to Skullwoods. One of the drop downs for Skullwoods has a lot of bombs you can farm, so it's a really common thing for runners to do.
Yep, that top drop down, you can just farm bombs continually getting there, so.
The other nice thing, of course, is because this is Key Sanity, even though we don't have the Fire Rod, there are a bevy of checks that we can get in this front of Skullwoods. Maybe we can get that early hammer, give ourselves a nice weapon. Hookshot is also a fantastic thing in this mode.
That it is.
But those Dark World enemies still do a ton of damage as we go through there.
Early piece of heart, that's nice. But Kyong's not going to opt to go down the hole first. He's going to check the middle of Skullwoods first.
Yeah, gonna check the middle, do a death warp here. Probably wants to grab the key from that back half to make routing the front easier. Since this is Key Sanity, you're not guaranteed to find any kind of small key here. You don't want to have to get soft lock and save and quit again.
That's true, yes. And there's the hammer. Wow.
Okay, hammer is a nice find. That will give us access over to West Dark World. We'll be able to dip into Pod, check Pyramid and Catfish. Well, not Catfish, we'll need a glove for that, but
yep.
Pod and Pyramid at least.
But that early hammer is very nice in swordless mode.
Uh-oh.
And the big key to Thieves Town.
Okay, so never mind what I said about being able to avoid 3-heart hammer blind. That looks to be exactly where we're heading.
And Kyong taking the express ride on the Wallmaster back.
zer0rush choosing to go and check Hype Cave. Not a bad choice. Only has the 2 bombs though. We'll have to go back and farm some more unless he gets lucky here.
Single rupee to start off with in Hype Cave. Then the Moon Pearl. Then a small key to Dark Palace Pod. Piece of heart and a heart. So Moon Pearl's nice.
Moon Pearl is fantastic, actually.
Yeah. Doesn't really do too much for us just yet, though.
Not a whole lot, but it does mean that now we're only a glove away from Light World access. Nice. And maybe the seed will be kind and give it to us along the way.
I mean, the seed has been fairly kind so far with the early hammer, so you never know.
Having a weapon early in Swordless is nice. Hammer is the best thing we're going to find along the way. And yeah, zer0rush does not want to abandon that magic pot. Of course, this being Key Sanity, we have no idea what our dungeon prizes are. We are required to find the maps for these. And Inverted has some interesting quirks into the geometry. In order to access the mirror locations, you can just walk over the light world. There's ladders and changes to the geography, and zer0rush gonna go and show some arrow game to farm rupees for the dig game, chess game, as well as pod.
Yep, this is probably the easiest way to farm up some money in Inverted. It's very simple to get these arrows. You just gotta line up with the left and shoot them off, really.
I'm only farming up the once, just enough for dig game and chess game. We'll see if he goes back to get pod money later, or if he expects to find it along the way.
In doing dig game, you normally get a pretty good refund when you're doing it anyways, so... But not today, just a shield and about 22 rupees.
Alright, Kyong gonna go follow in zer0rush's footsteps. zer0rush going to continue on, probably Village of Outcasts. Hopefully finds a bomb for the brewery along the way.
And probably Thieves Town as well, because they do have the hammer and the big key to Thieves Town.
And no, your eyes do not deceive you, new viewers. We are in the Dark World in 5 minutes. This is an inverted seed. You start in the Dark World and you end up in the Light World. Access to various dungeons is kind of flip-flopped. So in order, for instance, to enter Desert, you need the book, because the mirror goes from the Dark World to the goes from the Light World back to the Dark World instead of the other way around.
Yep. And zer0rush getting a convenient 3-bomb drop in the C-shaped house. And Kyong is going to farm up some more rupees here in the arrow game.
Alright, he will have enough for the various mini-games, as well as that entrance to Palace of Darkness. Going to get his quick but disappointing shield from Dig Game.
And just a compass in chess game today. Kyong's gonna keep digging to get some money though.
Not a bad play. Alright, into Thieves Town. We will be able to get everything except for that vanilla big key chest, since we are missing that small key.
And Dig Game not being very nice and not really giving that much money to us today. And we have a map to Turtle Rock. More information.
Well, one of the fun things with Inverted is that almost as soon as you get your Death Mountain access, you would be able to enter into Turtle Rock. And you're actually able to enter from some more unusual places than the front door.
Yep, there's 3 different places, and there's our gloves, so there we have Light World access.
Okay, so zer0rush has to make the choice. Does he nope out of Thieves Town, avoid the back and 3-heart hammer blind, and explore the light world, or does he continue on and risk orphaning that Thieves Town big chest?
Well, Zero is no longer on 3 hearts, he's on 6 hearts. So much more, right?
So much more. I mean, for Hammer, it's mostly that, you know, the Heckway with the Patrick Stars and the spikes and the anti-fairies. That's the real issue with 3-heart Thieves Town.
Yeah.
With 6 hearts, you're able to get through it a little bit easier. There's the hearts to farm on the way to Blind Cell.
Yeah, but it is very hard to set up a hammer script on blind.
Hard, but not impossible. And
correct.
With Kyong and zer0rush, these two are really veterans of this game. I expect they have probably done a couple of hammer blinds in their time.
Yep, they're two of the better runners in our league, I would say.
I expect after Thieves Town, both of them will be going into the light worlds to clear Kakariko. And Kyong is saying, no, I don't want to leave that Thieves Town big chest behind. We also have no idea if this is a pendant or a crystal. We will have to do all of them at some point. But you know what? That Thieves Town small key may be locking something that is required for our other pendant dungeons.
Yeah, and it's more likely than not going to be an item because it is key sanity, so yeah.
Alright, Kyong doing this check as zer0rush heads to the Maiden Cell. We'll be able to get to full hearts along the way. We've got the Zyzax are in the rupee pool, so that's going to be nice for zer0rush to farm a few extra rupees along the way.
And grabs the maiden, is going to be heading straight to the boss room. Meanwhile, it looks like Kyong is...
He's heading for the light world.
Yep. And Kakariko does have a lot of checks there, though.
Exactly. And in this kind of mode, being able to get to Kakariko early, it's going to open up all your options. Ideally, Kyong finds, a mirror right there, can go straight back then to Thieves Town if he wishes. And zer0rush going to do a couple of pause strats here to avoid the eye lasers.
We have the small key to swamp sitting in the mushroom spot, so that's convenient. Oh no! zer0rush takes a death. That's a very difficult fight.
And yeah, gonna save and quit. But that small key to swamp, very important. That's one of the more difficult keys to find in the game because it locks all of Swamp Palace and can be pretty much anywhere. zer0rush choosing to save and quit is gonna actually start from Link's house in the light world and perhaps do Hyrule Castle. And we also get a bottle from the Thieves drop down.
Yep, that bottle and a fairy is nice for swordless mode.
Absolutely. And having the bottle itself, that's one more check in Kakariko, just like in regular Seed.
And we're getting South Shore from zer0rush. Plenty of items here as well. And plenty of bombs to kill the mini Moldorms with.
And have to see where this heads out.
I thought Kyong was going to head to Death Mountain, but I was wrong.
No. Is likely gonna go and check the back of Escape here into Sanctuary.
If that makes
then potentially continue from Sanctuary into Kakariko. And we see here the convenience of one of our mirror checks. There's just a nice ladder up to Graveyard Lid.
And we have a big key to GT sitting in the dam, sitting outside the dam. That's nice to find early.
We will need that to get into GT at some point and climb the tower. Kyong finding a early blue mail in Graveyard Ledge.
And zer0rush is heading to CAC as well. Not going to do South Shore.
Headed into cave south of Grove that has a somewhat non-conspicuous VT in the grass. I wonder who put their mark there.
Alright, small key to pod. There's the bow and a big key to Ice Palace.
Ooh.
That's nice.
Okay, so we've got 2 small pod keys as well as the bow. They probably want maybe 1 or 2 more pod keys and the pod big key, but pod feels like a nice place.
Yeah, and I've seen more often than not in Key Sanity, there's at least 1 pod key in pod.
Oh yeah, I mean, just with the 14 chests that are available there, it just seems likely.
And a nice money drop in the Sanctuary, 300 rupees.
Yeah, rupees will no longer be an issue for Kyong with pod entry, the big bomb, or, our friend Zora.
Yep.
We'll see some convergence here as zer0rush does Kakariko from the south, Kyong does Kakariko from the north. zer0rush will have to come back to check that sick kid with the bottle, unless he finds another bottle here in Kakariko.
Alright, and then now to the Thieves' Hut.
Let's see what 5 goodies we've gotten here.
3 bombs, piece of heart, piece of heart, piece of heart.
Okay, so our runners are going to be looking through Kakariko to give them some kind of clue as to where to go next. If they find a lamp or another pod key, that's likely to go to pod. Lamp could also take us up the mountain. We would have to go back to the Dark World in order to climb the mountain. Right now, if we entered that Climb the Mountain cave here in the Light World, that would actually take us to Bumper Cave.
And we have Quake in the first chest of the drop-down of the well in Kakariko.
Medallions are relatively useless other than entry to pod and mire in this mode. You can only cast them when you are standing on a medallion square.
Yep, because no sword. And technically we did have our first sword in the back of Blind's Hut, but just 20 rupees.
Yes, anytime you see a green 20 rupee drop, that represents one of the swords that was in the pool.
And now, zer0rush will also be getting that. So Kakariko, so far nothing much here.
No, there's not a whole lot leading us to any kind of progression. We still have all the usual, open mode, so-called early checks. We do have South Shore, we've got the Eastern area, we've got Hyrule Castle. Eastern, they may put off looking for that Eastern big key so they can complete it entirely. South Shore, you kind of want to have maybe flippers to combo that in with Zora, although that's also in logic with the glove. Or we could choose to sequence break up the mountain. Wouldn't be able to do a whole lot up there, but it is checks.
Yeah, you can save the old man, check a few things out.
The fun thing with saving the old man in Inverted is you save him in the Dark World, have to take him through the portal, and then jump down to his house. But when you save and quit to his house, it's actually on Death Mountain.
Yep.
So just talking a little bit about these 2 teams, Kinda Rando Retired was the first seed in their division. I Like Big Boots took the Week 1 playoff with a 3-1 win over the Spoilers. And I Like Big Boots, took an early 1-0 series lead in this best of 5 this week. A win over the Ambrosia player. Relkin took the win in this afternoon.
Yep, actually just about 40 minutes ago. Alright, now zer0rush will be getting that bow and small key to pod and fairly useless big key to Ice Palace.
Fairly useless, but not 100% useless. It is a check that can easily be orphaned, and in key sanity modes require a double dip if there's something important there. So it's always nice to be able to clear Ice Palace with that Ice Palace big key.
That's true.
No Hyrule Castle small key yet, so in order to get to Dark Cross, we will have to go in through the front.
Alright, now Kyong's going to give us some new checks here with South Shore. And zer0rush is going to save and quit, so I wonder where he's going to go.
Starting from Link's house. Now this could be the play over to Pod, but no, is going into the Light World. Have to see if he is going to continue his South Shore checks. Hyrule Castle is another option, or could be going over to Eastern. There really isn't any good kind of things that are pointing us to anything, but dollars to donuts. Pod is our not quite a big flashing arrow, but it seems pretty good at this point.
That it does, but we do find flippers in many Moldarm caves, so we don't have to worry about fake flippering. Get to Zora. And zer0rush is very close to the amount for it.
The fun thing with flippers in inverted mode is once we get a Fire Rod or Bombos, we'd be able to go into Ice Palace. We do not require the Titan's Mitts. We can just swim right in there in the dark.
But who wants to do Ice Palace without the cane these days?
Yeah, that's very true. Both of these runners would love to be able to do the icebreaker glitch if available, but sometimes rando logic is cruel and makes us to go the long ways around.
That it does. And Ice Rod Cave only had 20 rupees today, so not here, our answer.
Unsurprisingly, Kyong, with Zora Money and the Flippers, is going to complete our Flippers checks. I imagine zer0rush will be doing much of the same. These two runners reading the seed in similar manners. There wasn't a whole lot of divergence early, but there is still a possibility of it. Both of the runners choosing to go for the item-dense plays, rather than trying to follow any kind of item logic.
Yep. And while they made the same checks, they did do them in a different order, but that was really the only difference. Alright, now we've got Hobo, who has a small key to Hyrule Castle.
Okay. So that makes Dark Cross moot. We could go from either direction, although it's still out of logic without the Fire Rod or Lamp. Sick Kid was not anything. Kyong did get that bottle early and was able to check it along the way. zer0rush will have to go back. zer0rush, though, has done a few extra checks since he dipped deeper into Thieves' Town.
I'm sorry, but the flute was just found. I mean, that's not really all that needed in Inverted, but it's really nice for movement.
That's very true. It's incredibly nice for a movement. It gives us logical access to the mountain. It will also give us access to the mire area when we go to the Dark World.
And Waterfall Fairy has a big key of Skullwoods and another big key for Pod. Yeah, Pod is what the seed is screaming.
Yeah, I imagine that the next time these runners go to the Dark World, they may be very tempted to go towards Pod. Again, they would love to be able to go in there with 4 small keys. That's how much you need to be able to clear pod at the bare minimum. You can do it. You'd have to, though, avoid entering that middle door of pod.
You
5
to
is
the long way
ideal.
on the bow side each time.
Yeah, and you'd like to have the mirror.
Very true. And Zora today has Ether.
Just teasing us with more medallions that we can't use.
Yep. Bombos would be nice, that would be Ice Palace, but... And there's a small key to Misery Mire.
Yeah, small keys to mire are the most useless thing to find, since there are enough keys on enemies and under pots in mire that you really don't need to find any small keys in the world.
Yep.
And yes, the ladder that they climbed up to get the flute is an inverted thing. As we had mentioned before, all of the mirror spots are accessible from the light world.
Alright, Kyong looks to be taking... That portal is going to go to Hyrule Castle, it looks like. With that single key. Oh, and also going to find out what our 5-6 crystals are, which are Eastern Palace and Skull Woods.
Alright, so for that, we are only looking for the Fire Rod and the Eastern Palace Big Key in order to get those.
Yep.
However, to turn in the big... However, in order to turn in the big bomb, we will need the mirror.
Oh yes, because it's now in the light world, the dark world. But they're still pretty convenient with them being 2 of the smaller dungeons too.
And zer0rush, taking that Skullwood's Big Key and going straight to the Skullwood's Big Chest, did skip that mire small on the ledge.
And just a big 20 in the big chest of Skullwoods.
I wonder here if zer0rush is going to go and try to take on Blind once more. He's going to go to the middle part of Skullwoods. Kyong had checked this on his first trip through. zer0rush has not looked at it yet. And that castle tower, that Hyrule Castle Small that we found earlier, does put all of these checks in the front part of Hyrule Castle into logic. Normally, only this very first map chest is in logic, because logically, you could take that small key and walk all the way to the back.
And we have a big key to Hera. That's a good find as well. Unfortunately, we can't access Hera just yet, but...
Yes we can. Because we have the flute to access the mountain, and then
yes,
we can climb up to the mountain, take the portal to the light world, and climb right up to Tower of Hera.
Yep.
So that will be a completable dungeon, but there will be an item in the basement we will not be able to access without that Hera small key, and a fire source, of course. And zer0rush is going to go and activate his flute. Potentially also checking that bottle from the sick kid. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I completely forgot that the ladder there is in the Dark World. So you can climb Dark Death Mountain and get to, quote-unquote, Ganon's Tower. We will need Titan's Mitts or the hookshot to get to the Tower of Hera.
And Kyong setting up for a death warp here to go check back the Dark Cross.
So for inverted, you activate your flute in the... Oh no, forgot.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, you activate your flute in the light world, however, you can only use it to traverse around in the dark world. All the usual same flute spots
That's an unfortunate fairy there. And it looks like Kyong's gonna head over to Kakarika to activate his flute as well.
Alright, zer0rush, where are you going to take us? Are you going to take us to the mire area, or are you going to take us to the mountain? Answer is the mire area. We'll be able to check what our mire medallion is, as well as get the 2 items in Mire Shed.
It is Bombos.
Alright, one of the ones we have not found yet. Once we find Bombos, we would be able to open Mire, but of course we wouldn't be able to get very far without Boots or the hook.
And there's the small key to Thieves Town.
Alright, zer0rush now having some incentive to go back in there.
And with the flute, can get back there pretty quickly with that flute to 3.
Exactly. Also using that flute to rather conveniently check Catfish, one of those checks that is much nicer in inverted than in regular mode. We'll see if Kyong follows zer0rush's pathing and makes his way to the mire area.
And on our friendly Catfish, we have a compass. And
yes,
zer0rush back to Thieves Town.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, we'll be able to full clear a few more hearts this time. Should be able to take care of Blind. See where Kyong ends up.
The Misery Mire area.
Alright, our runners are in Mine Sync, making the same kinds of plays at this point. There are a few opportunities for divergence, but it's really nice to see that these 2 runners are on the same wavelength here.
So now will Kyong have to rebomb the floor, or will that stay bombed?
That was zer0rush who went in there, so no, he will not need to. He will not need to rebomb the floor. He just needs to flip the switch.
Okay, I can never remember with Thieves Town.
Yep, Thieves Town, that dungeon state is always the same. Similarly, since he's already rescued the maiden, the Blind will already be in the dungeon boss area.
Yep, you're right, yep.
Kyong already checked these first 4. He will be making his way to the back.
Wait, zer0rush grabbed the maiden?
I'm confused. How did that happen? Because Blind should still be in the boss room.
Red mail is nice, but not entirely needed. Huh.
Alright, red mail is a very nice safety. That will help against Blind, at least with getting hit by Blind's laser beams themselves. The fireballers will still do the same amount of damage. And these runners are not particularly seeded. However, since this is a league match, the Kinda Rando Retired was the first seed in this division, and I Like Big Boots was the second seed. I Like Big Boots won 3-1 last week over the Spoilers to move to this division finals.
So, chat mentioning that maybe he quit out, but he quit out because the chests were still open, weren't they? And if he quit out, then he would have to... go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I think he did menu to just continue rather than save and quit. Or save and continue. I think he just chose to continue.
Okay.
Alright, zer0rush now fluting to 5. Took care of blind, and we did get our first crystal from the match.
Oh yes, so that's nice. About 30 minutes in.
zer0rush gonna go and check Sahasrahla before going back to pod. Kind of makes sense. You can easily flute back to 5 to go back. Oh no, you can't just flute back to the Dark World now. So now he needs to save and quit to get back to the Dark World unless we find the mirror.
And Toro Rock is our green pendant today.
Alright, compass for pod. Map of Thieves Town, of course, once we already get that crystal information.
And then just 20 rupees.
Is gonna go and dive inside Eastern Palace. Does know he's gonna have to come back here with that big key. But it's a guaranteed 4 items. Assuming you feel comfortable with a swordless dark room, which I'm sure zer0rush does. Kyong doing similarly nice work on his hammer blind.
One hit away and gets it.
And it is actually 4 items. There is the cannonball chest, the map chest, the compass chest, and the vanilla big key chest that are available.
Yep, we are in key sanity, so it's more than 3.
Only 3 in logic, unless one of those is the lamp. We'll see if Kyong is again going to follow in zer0rush's footsteps, but no, we're finally getting some divergence. He is going to do the old man rescue in the dark with the bow.
That's a very creative way to figure out where you are with that bow.
Once you've done it enough, you only need a couple of markers in order to tell where you're at, just to see where that wall is and measure your footsteps. There is the only one hole in the path, but there is that little dead end after the bats.
Yep. And so far, nothing really in Eastern.
Are going to get a little bit of more information, again, that we already knew that Skullwoods is one of our crystals, and the red crystal for that matter. Kyong showing that when you already have a follower, if you're carrying a flower, it really, your movement speed doesn't get affected that badly.
Plus, the old man is one of those that locks your movement speed if you try to dash or anything, so...
Alright, zer0rush using the hammer to get that big key off the Stelphos. And our old man rescue gives us our first Turtle Rock small key.
Alright. And Kyong is going to head back up Death Mountain to go check out what's inside Spectacle Rock Cave.
zer0rush going to our last accessible chest here in Eastern.
Just a compass. But we have a cape sitting in Spec Rock. So that doesn't really open up too much.
It
We
will
haven't had
give
any
us...
CT keys yet.
and the other thing is you do not need the cape to enter Castle Tower.
Oh, true. It's just open because it's GT now.
Yeah, it sure is. The cape, however, will give us access to Spike Cave. We'd already scouted Bumper Ledge earlier. That was only a big 20. As our runners make this way through this inverted key sanity all dungeon seed with no swords. No, it's not an error. They haven't been unlucky. There are just no swords to be found in this seed. I'm gonna go and check the pyramid.
Yeah, pyramid into pod seems like a good play at this point.
And it looks like zer0rush will be doing those Hyrule Castle checks. If he's planning a death warp, hopefully he remembers about that fairy in a bottle.
And now he actually has 2 because he picked up 1 more in Eastern. And on the desert ledge we have our boots.
Oh,
That's
that's a nice find.
It's not as great because it's swordless mode, so you can't just dash through enemies, but it's still really useful.
Kyong going to be using advantage of iframes to dash through enemies. You get some iframes from the flute transition as well as mirror transitions. We'll only have access to bonk rocks. We had saw the library early, was not anything of importance. King's Tomb is hard locked behind the Titan's Mitts in this mode.
Can't mirror from the dark world, so it's inverted.
And Kyong is going to go straight into pod.
Yeah,
I like this play a lot.
Could even choose to clear it out, but probably will opt to check the chests first.
Can check quite a few chests. May choose to try to save scum the key to then complete it afterwards. And yes, those boots could have been available very early if you made the absolute god play, took that hammer from Skullwoods, and then went straight to the pyramid.
Yeah. Alright, and let's see if pod is bow locked today.
Well, I mean, it's key sanity, so it doesn't really matter.
That's
We're coming in here with 2 small keys. And there's our 3rd bottle.
Times.
2 small keys doesn't mean a whole lot. It means that only these front checks are in logic. We don't know where those other keys are available. We still have Agina, we still have Checkerboard Cave, and we still have some checks over on Dark Death Mountain.
That we do.
Unsurprisingly, going to go and check this bow lock side first, and then use the hammer to check the front 4 that are normally behind that middle door.
Alright, on the bow lock side, we have a compass to Skullwoods and 50 rupees.
And he is going to hammer down. If he was planning to save scum keys, he'll head out towards the back first, then take a death warp and just continue, but he is going to check the front here.
Ooh, book. That is useful.
All right, book gives us our access into desert. That may be what the boots are locking. We're going into desert without any keys, but we do find, of course, like you had mentioned earlier, pod key and pod.
Yep, because why not?
So that does give us the 3 keys, and then Kyong is going back to this bow lock side, is not going to open up the vanilla big key chest yet, and instead is probably going to go to the back or take on Helmasaur. zer0rush doing a similar double take with that cape.
Alright, and he's gonna head to the back instead of Helmasaur first.
Do a nice change to reset this. With a hammer, Young would be able to check all of this in the back with 1 small key to spare to go and kill Helmasaur. And then we would only be orphaning that vanilla big key chest.
So for chat, we are inverted key sanity, all dungeons, plus swordless. Those are our modes today.
And zer0rush is going back up the mountain, going to go and check Super Bunny. We'll be able to see our TR medallion.
And we have the map of Eastern Palace and the Cane of Burna in the basement of Pod.
Alright, and zer0rush is going to take that cape and follow it into Spike Cave.
Alright, so this will be a new check here.
And Kyong is going to go, did use that small key on Harmless Hellway, is going to now do the hammer jump, and oof, zer0rush going to use his fairy there. That's very nice knowledge to use. Remembering that that's in your inventory.
Yep. Alright, and just a heart container in Spike Cave, so nothing important there either.
Dark Maze giving us a piece of heart. There was a compass in the big chest. And zer0rush going to go continue up Dark Mountain. This was likely a trip over to Super Bunny. If he had those boots, he would also be able to check that one chest in Hookshot Cave. That could be where some progression is lying.
And Kyong is looking for that top chest, which just has a boomerang. And it's just going to save and quit out.
Alright, is leaving with one small key remaining. zer0rush can also check this first chest in Aga Tower.
Oh, right, yes. And is opting to use arrow strats on these ball and chain guards.
Hammer does a bit better damage, but of course the hammer hitbox is notoriously difficult to manage, as these fast guards are demonstrating.
Oh, and we have the big key to desert.
Alright, so that tells a bit of a story. So now when zer0rush goes to get his boots, and also that book out of Pod, we'll be able to check the big chest in Desert.
And Kyong is following that book, heading desert, so we'll have to double dip it for sure now. And just 10 arrows on the Bombos tablet there.
We have Ether to get into Turtle Rock.
So we can open it up.
Yina gives us another pack of 3 bombs. So other than entering Desert, there's also Checkerboard Cave that Kyong can check at this moment. And zer0rush going to go and continue on to Super Bunny and may jump into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I could check the end of Laser Bridge there. And
Actually,
we have a big key in Checkerboard.
Sorry, would need to have Late World access to do that.
True. You had a mirror over.
Alright, we get the big key to Mire. So once we get that Bombos, we could be checking quite a bit of Mire. Would not be able to complete it without that Cane of Samaria, but there's the Bombos.
As you were saying.
As I was saying. That will give us access to Ice Palace as well as Misery Mire.
That it does. We could have a Fire Rod in Ice Palace today.
zer0rush going back into the Light World. Looks like he's going to be doing his desert area checks. Will not have the book to enter into Desert.
And there was our logical second sword, if we could get those.
He'll also have to pass by the Bombos tablet. So all he has here is Agena and Checkerboard. And then he's going to be forced to go over to the Pyramid Pod, which we know will pay out for him. But he may feel a little bit behind. seeing those boots and knowing he could have had them much earlier. Are you thinking this is going to be a flute to 6 for Kyong?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. Fluting. No, it's a flute to 5.
Alright, he has not checked Sahashala, does not have the information about the green pendant, and has not dipped into Eastern Palace. So, going to do these few checks first. So while we have a little bit of time, while our runners are rerunning over once again, this is an ALTTPR League playoff match. This is the division finals between Kinda Rando Retired and I Like Big Boots. This is for the Kakriko division. Kinda Rando Retired was the number 1 seed. Made of Farame, Super Nintailor, and Kyong. I Like Big Boots is Ganon's Gone Wild's Relkin and zer0rush. The winner of this series, this best of 5, will face the winner of Pug Trio and Clown Parade for the conference semifinals.
There are going to be a lot of good matchups coming up.
Absolutely. So the playoffs are matched up. The first 3 games, the required 3 games, are based on the pendant matchups. At the beginning of the league season, each team designated a green pendant, a blue pendant, and a red pendant. The green pendants play an open mode seed. The blue pendants play an ambrosia seed, and this is the red pendants play an ambrosia seed, and this blue pendant, the power players, play a seed where the higher seed picks the mode and the lower seed got a veto. Kyong, or zer0rush, the lower seed, chose to veto Fast Ganon. So Kyong then gave us this lovely combination of all dungeons, swordless, key sanity, inverted.
Yep, and zer0rush is heading into pod to get that book, and meanwhile Kyong is going in Eastern Palace, unfortunately for really nothing.
So I Like Big Boots and Kinda Rando Retired had met in week 6 of the regular season, which was the co-op pilot Key Sanity. Gonna have to check to see whether or not Kyong and zer0rush faced each other in that week and see who came out ahead. The red pendant ambrosia seed was played earlier this afternoon, where Relkin took the victory for I Like Big Boots, giving them that first lit up Triforce on the screen. To see if zer0rush makes the same decisions here in pod that Kyong did. Kyong chose to open the Harmless Hellway and leave the Vanilla Big Key chest unlocked with a hammer yump, leaving him 1 key in his inventory. zer0rush could make a similar call, but could also then choose to go all the way to Helmasaur.
Yeah, and also, there's also that big key, or not big key, but big key chest.
Yes. Although generally, if you're walking all the way to the back, you're going to use that small key on Harmless Hellway and then come back for the Vanilla Big Key chest later. Both of them are out of logic without 4 small keys anyway, so it's a bit of a moot point.
Yeah,
and Kyong's gonna go and skip that Castle Tower chest for now. Instead is gonna go and look at Turtle Rock Super Bunny, and we'll get to see what that first chest in Hookshot Cave is. And it is a good point from chat that swordless terrapin room is awful in the dark, especially with just hammer.
Absolutely.
Didn't talk about that before, but maps of swamp and ice are quite interesting. We can't go anywhere in swamp, still need the mirror for that, but Ice Palace is clearable.
I mean, it is all dungeons, so you're gonna have to do all anyways.
Yes, but there's always that possibility that your pendant dungeon requirements could be locked in Ganon's tower.
Ooh, and there is that key.
Alright, there's that fourth small key for Kyong. So he can now complete Palace of Darkness. And open all of the chests in there.
Yeah, we'll still have to do some awkward routing to get to that big key chest, but is doable, and is gonna head to the first chest to get that big key of desert in Castle Tower. That probably won't feel as good, knowing that if you came here first, you would have been able to check one extra chest over in desert.
Potentially, but for Kyong at that time, he had Bombos Tablet, he had Agena, he had Checkerboard Cave, and he had that desert ledge. So, I mean, that big key only opens up one other check in desert. We're still not able to beat Lanmo without a fire source, so it's not that bad, I would say.
That's true, that's true.
Speaking of fire source, that's probably also what's keeping Kyong from going into the mire area.
Yeah, doing mire the back without a fire source can be pretty annoying.
Well, and you're also leaving two chests behind over on the firelock side.
Yep, that you are.
zer0rush also setting up the hammer, yeah. A double pixel perfect trick. One perfect pixel for the bomb, one perfect pixel for Link. Gonna get his Dark Maze, Piece of Heart, and Blue Boomer.
Alright, so if you're Kyong, where do you go next? Pod again?
Looks like Pod. Gonna go and get that dungeon prize, but no, this is likely Ice Palace. Gonna grab a blue potion from this shop here. This is another inverted special. Normally this shop just sells red potions, but since an inverted, oftentimes it's really difficult to get to the potion shop. That was a nice little quality of life convenience thing the devs added.
Yeah, it is very nice. And it is Ice Palace.
So you see that Bombos medallion on the floor? That is the only place where you can cast Bombos in this dungeon. There is one in that room. There's one in the Freezor room above the Vanilla Big Chest. And there's one in the Cold Stair room itself to break Cold Stair Shell.
It's one of the few locations where bombos or medallions are actually useful in this mode.
Yeah, other than that, it is not possible to cast any medallions. Can't use bombos in this room. Kyong gonna go for bomb strats and does a nice job of that.
Very clean.
General rule of thumb for swordless is anytime you would need the Master Sword, you need the hammer. And anytime you would need any sword, you can just do it. So you don't actually need the hammer to cast that Bombos medallion. You can just stand on that Bombos medallion icon. But to get, for instance, the tablets, you need the hammer. If we were playing a non-inverted swordless seed, you could also use the hammer to break the force field in front of Aga Tower.
Oh, and zer0rush also forgot about the fairy.
And yes, to damage Ganon, similarly, you need the Master Sword in a regular mode, so you need the hammer in this mode. You generally do not see silverless, so the runners will be going out of their way to try to find that second bow. It is possible to damage Ganon in Phase 4 with just the hammer, but it would take a good 20 minutes. You would need half magic and a full inventory of potions.
Yep. It's a very small window that you have, and with the hammer hitbox makes it even more difficult, so... And the freezer chest here. Meanwhile, zer0rush is heading back to the desert, so we can see what that one extra chest in desert has.
Alright, we got that Ice Palace big key quite early. Let's see if it's anything.
Just bombs.
zer0rush would love to see a fire source here in desert. Either the fire rod or the lamp. Kyong heading over to Iced Tea, and we're about 1 hour into this seed. Just a reminder, this is a swordless, inverted, all dungeons key sanity seed. Iced Tea having a small key to Ganon's Tower. Not necessarily required in the seed, but once again, some of our pendant dungeon things, like that something for pendant Turtle Rock, may be required in there.
Absolutely.
And we would invite you to give our runners a follow. They are doing a fantastic job with this seed. And as Kyong is going to go and demonstrate the other Ice Palace bomb jump.
This one is a bit easier. You just have to set up on that left brick, put a bomb down, and you're basically good.
Desert big chest, only 10 arrows. So Ice Palace is logically hookshot locked for this side. There was no other way to get here. We've used up all the other keys available. zer0rush gonna grab his vomit medallion.
There could be keys out in the world that we just haven't found yet.
Yeah, and I think right now it's looking like they will be in Misery Mire.
That's very possible. And another small key to Turtle Rock.
I'm just trying to think of other checks that we may have available. I think Mire is just about it.
Yeah, Mire and... Well, if you really wanted to go do Dark Helm's Storeroom, you could go do that.
Yeah, but again, that would be totally out of logic, even more than it already was. The book, I believe, was in logic, since we did find 4 pod keys, so that's not an issue. But the book hasn't led us to anything.
Yeah, so... It's gotta be Ice Palette. It gotta be something here.
Yeah, Mire is the case.
Mire here.
Well, this would not be... we would have needed all the Ice Palace keys in order to reach here, or we would need the hookshot.
That's true.
And
zer0rush is gonna try to hover hookshot cave here.
Alright, might be able to sequence break something nice in here.
Ooh, almost. It's going back though.
Got plenty of health to try it a couple of times. Kyong doing a great job on Hammer Cold Stare here, keeping them in the corner for quite a few shots, able to take off a lot of health.
And that's one puff down.
We'll have to see how long zer0rush decides to go for this hovering strat, while Kyong is doing great job on Hammer Cold Stare. Piece of heart, and that's our red pendant.
Alright, so we're just one pendant away now from knowing what our dungeon layout is. zer0rush unfortunately not getting nearly as far in his next tries as he did with the first try.
The one thing with hovering is that your hands do get tired after a little while. He doesn't have any other checks on the mountain, so he's just going to go for this last heart container and go for it.
Yeah, it's a lot of button mashing. And in a rhythm as well.
Alright, Kyong also going to go follow up on that Skullwood's big key he had found earlier. zer0rush did check this. It wasn't anything important. We'll see if zer0rush is the first one to dive into mire.
Yeah, it can't go to ice. I don't think he has enough magic for the Bombos usage, does he?
He would have one Bombos usage, I believe. Alright, and we do see that Swamp Palace is also a crystal.
Not enough for even one. A little bit of time lost there, but...
So
and it's going to opt to flute to 3.
Kyong heading into the light world. I wonder if this might be a pedestal check. I can't think of any.
Yeah.
There's this, and there is bonk rocks in the area. That's about it.
I mean, you're going to have to complete all of the pendants anyway, so at least it's acknowledged whether you're going to need to come here. And on the pedestal today we have just this little piece of love, so won't be coming back here anytime soon.
Alright, one more check in the area. We'll be able to do bonk rocks. zer0rush had taken an unfortunate... I thought he's already checked this item. I'm not sure. Oh, he's getting magic. This is him getting magic. His other option would have been actually to bonk the tree by the portal. That would also have a full magic refill in it. Or, could have bought that blue potion from the Dark Lake Hylia shop.
Yeah. Alright, and bonk rocks also has nothing.
Either defeat Ganon, or fast Ganon, or all dungeons. The world state, open, standard, or inverted. Your swords, which can be assured, vanilla, randomized, or in this case, swordless. And the last one is the dungeon item shuffle, which can either be none, map compass small key, or a full key sanity like this.
Yep. And Kyong is going to go ahead and opt to check Dark Cross from here. Good way to route it in, I believe.
Yeah, I would agree. And zer0rush also going to go and make this Ice Palace play. It is a completable dungeon for him, so I don't blame him going here over Mire, but really does feel like Mire is the only play at this point.
Yeah, it does.
That book that we had in pod after the early pod, with the early pod keys, the hammer, and the bow, led us to that Bombos medallion. That Bombos medallion will give us straight into Mire.
And just money in Dark Cross, so... Where are you going, Kyong? Pulling out the flute now.
Probably to 6.
Yep.
Which I believe is his only option left. There are no other than hovering through Hookshot Cave. There is no other places for them to check other than maybe Helmasaur and that vanilla big key chest in Pod.
Yeah, well, a place where nobody really wants to go. So.
The playoffs all follow the same format through all of the rounds. So games 1, 2, and 3 will always be an open 7-7 defeat Ganon. The Wisdom will be the Ambrosia. Game 3 will always be this kind of thing where the higher seed will choose the mode with the lower seed getting 1 veto. Games 4 and 5 have the same pool of options. The team will choose a representative. Game 4, the lower seed chooses the mode and the higher seed gets a veto. Game 5 is the same as the Game 3s.
Yeah, it should prove to have some interesting matchups, interesting race types. And there's our hook shot. That's progression right there. Yeah,
that will give us access over to not only Hookshot Cave, but will give us access to East Death Mountain, and we'd be able to enter Tower of Hera.
That we will, and zer0rush is going to opt to hover this hookshot locked side. Gets it pretty quickly.
So Game 4, if it is required, both teams will just choose a representative. Pendants don't matter. And the lower seed chooses the mode, with the higher seed getting the veto.
Alright, and there's a small key to Tower of Hera, so Hera is now reachable and completable. Well,
no, almost.
Almost.
Still need that fire source, which is frustratingly not available anywhere. And those are all the items out of Mire for Kyong. So this will be a trip up the mountain for him.
And now we have access to Paradox Cave and all that good stuff in Light World as well.
Paradox Cave, Spiral Cave. Of course, Tower of Hera will be able to get the item off the floating island. But Kyong is going to go and check Hookshot Cave first, which makes sense. Without the mirror, this is the easiest way to get there.
And it's a quick 3 checks. Fire out, there we go.
Oh.
Fire source locked by Mire. So if zer0rush had been able to hover that, would have been able to have that much earlier, which would have been very convenient for Misery Mire routing.
He also would have loved it to have it here in Ice Palace.
Yep.
Alright, now he's gonna go and do... I was gonna do Spike Cave. He already did Spike Cave. Forgot that, yeah, you gotta go into the Light World portal to get to the east side of Death Mountain.
Yep.
That fire rod will also give us access to complete Skull Woods. We can get the other 2 items in Misery Mire. Makes doing the turtles in pod much more palatable.
All you have to do is light that torch and you have light for a good while.
No, you don't need mitts or mirror for Hera. Mirror would have been useful because then when he was climbing this light Death Mountain, he could have mirrored to Hookshot Cave. It was either Hookshot or mitts in order to get to Tower of Hera.
Yes. Because you can just go one of the standard routes, standard open routes, by hookshotting over and hammering to Hera. And there's a small key to ice, which is completely useless to us now because both our owners are about to complete ice.
Yep, but it's one thing that runners do keep in mind, even though you can sequence break ice without any of the small keys. It's just a good idea to keep in mind where those small keys were in case there was some value in Ice Palace. We know there's not, but that's alright.
And there's a small key to desert, so we can also complete desert now.
Okay, that's gonna feel really nice for Kyong since he hasn't gone back to check the big chest. So when he goes back to desert, he can just full clear desert. zer0rush doing his cold stare fight. Does not have that safety blue potion. And Kyong says no thanks to the heart container on Floating Island.
And 2 pops down for zer0rush. And there goes the 3rd. So that's the first pendant for zer0rush. Meanwhile, on Ether Tablet, we have a small piece of heart.
And there's a question in chat about Titan's Mitts and Inverted. Yeah, they aren't as important. You can still use them, for instance, for Smith Chain or Death Mountain routing, but the only hard lock thing that are 100% required behind Mitts is the King's 2.
And for Smiths, you can also use the mirror to pick them up, right?
Yes, so you can mirror from the library location and grab that, and Kyong is going to go and check this basement while he's here. Why not? It looked like he might have been setting up to do a Harapot, but he doesn't want to leave this behind anyway.
Yeah, you're still looking for quite a few items, so no point in skipping it.
For purple chest and hammer pegs, you can also mirror from the light world to that dark world location, so you never need to pick up those rocks. And since we have hook shot and hammer, we will not need the mitts to access anything here on Light Death Mountain.
Yep. zer0rush gets through Mire 2 with some arrow strats. We'll be picking up that hook shot very soon. And there's a lamp.
All right. Lamp locked behind fire rod. So we're still looking for quite a few things. We would love, of course, a Cane of Samaria. We're looking for mirror. We'll need the ice rod. And the runners really do need those silver arrows. Do you have any thoughts on what we might find next?
I'm hoping for finding that silver arrows, just because it doesn't really open anything up, but it'll give our runners some peace of mind.
Mirror would also give us access to Laser Bridge, as well as some of the other back entrances to Turtle Rock. And there's that 5th pod key. So Kyong can now full clear pod.
Yeah, with the lamp, we'll have no problem with that how many Helmasaur room.
Alright, zer0rush about to go get his hook shot, and we'll be following that same chain as Kyong. Kyong with a bit of an advantage here, but in Rando, anything is possible.
And Hammer Moldorm is not very difficult.
No, if anything, Hammer Moldorm is better than when you're going here with Fighter or Master Sword.
Absolutely. And Kyong gets Moldorm down for a crystal.
Alright, that is crystal number 2. As well as a heart container. We're at 14, so nice and healthy going in. Both runners with red mail. So we've got options of Desert Pod or Skull Woods. What are you thinking?
I'd probably go finish off Desert.
Okay.
It's completable. It's got like 3 or 4 checks that I haven't gotten yet, so why not?
Alright, Kyong gonna go take care of Mimic Cave, another inverted special. As we said, all of the mirror locations are accessible thanks to quirks in the geography.
And there's the last Pod Small key.
Okay, so now we have logical access to Clear Pod. Does that change your answer?
Nah, I still go do Desert and then probably Pod right after that, so. And then it's gonna go back up to get the Spiral Cave. And zer0rush pulling that a little bit after getting that Fire Rod. is going to Skullwoods, though. Is not going to stay here and do Hera. Or, like, Death Mountain.
Okay. Little bit of a divergence here. Again, there's nothing that's really swaying our runners one way or another, but Skullwoods is a 5/6 crystal. And there are 2 items in the back. There's only 1 in Desert, there's 2 in Pod.
Yep. Alright, and Kyong, let's see where you're going. Luton did 3.
Alright, also Skullwoods. So only going to be a difference of Tower of Hera and East Death Mountain between the runners.
Skullwoods is also a 5/6 crystal, so maybe that could also have influenced our decisions a little bit.
Still looking for both the mirror and the Eastern Big Key in order to do that Pyramid Fairy check.
True.
And as you see here, the curtain is pre-cut in Skullwoods, no need for that sword. And a lot of people are terrified of Hammer Mothula, but as long as you're hammering down, it's not too bad because Mothula's hitbox is quite large. And since it only takes 8 tempered swings, which is the same damage class that the hammer does, it's not that bad. You just have to do your spike dance to avoid damage.
Yep. But Mothula is not cooperating, sticking to the top of the arena today.
Mothula, please come down. We just want to hammer your face in. Just a little bit.
Alright, that's better. And gets him down.
Alright, that's a 5/6 crystal for zer0rush. And we get a... Ooh, Agate Tower Key.
That is access to the second chest, at least.
It's almost a shame that we still haven't found Mirror, because then zer0rush could get that lamp from the basement of Hera and mirror and take care of that second chest in the Castle Tower.
Yep. And Kyong also putting up a great Mothula fight.
Now, this is all dungeons. We're gonna have to do Agate 2 regardless, but... I'm just trying to think if there is any kind of situation where we may have to do Aga 1 early for that mirror. We know it's not on Lumberjack Ledge, but I'm just trying to think if there's a situation where the Pyramid Fairy is blocking the mirror.
Well, that would be an interesting conundrum. Because you would require the portal then, yeah. Huh.
Alright, zer0rush fluted to 5 is going to take care of Pod. We'll see if Kyong follows suit. Again, this is the most item-dense part, since there's only 1 item left in Desert, and Kyong is going to follow suit.
I mean, Desert still has...
Only 1 item
items.
left.
3 items.
Oh, that's right, we have the small key. That's right, I totally forgot that Kyong got that Desert small key and zer0rush has not picked it up.
Yes, yep. And that dash was very... Those iframes are... OP.
That Desert small key was the one other thing of value that we found over on East Death Mountain. And Kyong, with all the keys, not afraid at all to go through that middle door. zer0rush gonna have to take the slightly longer way through the bow side. So they're gonna be entering Helmasaur. You know, Kyong now takes a tiny bit of a lead to enter towards Helmasaur.
Yeah, and if, oh, so zer0rush is actually gonna go check the vanilla big key chest first. Makes sense for routing, because he doesn't want to open up that center door.
Yeah, and Kyong can go and check that after Helmasaur easily enough.
Yep.
Though, I'll have to see, is this the mirror?
Nope. Just a small key to Misery Mire.
Okay, that's something that could have been easily skipped. Nice blue boomerang menuing from Kyong to go hit that crystal switch.
And nice turtle room as well.
That's those terrapins in one cycle. Beautifully done.
Alright, into Helmasaur we go.
Usual thing, 17 hammer hits. No sword means you can't buffer your swing, so you have to be very aware of where Helmasaur's hurt box and the hammer's hit box are, but Kyong showing he is a master of this fight. No hesitation. Takes the mask down, takes Helmasaur down. Bada bing, bada boom. Is this going to be our last pendant, or is it a crystal?
Kyong just destroyed Helmasaur. It is a crystal. We're still hunting for that last pendant. But our only choices now are Misery Mire and Desert Palace, so we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, Firelocked Mire or Desert Palace. One of them will have the Cane of Samaria, or perhaps the Mirror. Either one of them will give us some progression.
Yes.
And zer0rush gonna have to do Dark Turtles, but we'll have the Fire Rod to at least light the torch.
And does do so. Very nice. Turtle room from him as well.
And Kyong gets that useless Mire key. Despite the fact that Mire is an option, I expect Kyong is going to be doing Desert.
Absolutely. It is running down here first, though.
Well, has to go into Light World to get to Desert.
Of course, can't just loot there anymore. No mitts.
We would need the Titan's mitts if we wanted to flute there.
Yep.
zer0rush also having a very good Helmasaur fight. Running into the hurt box a little bit, but we'll have no issue finishing this fight. So what are you thinking? Samaria or Mirror?
I think we're going to find pretty much here. And our Cane of Samaria is going to be in GT because Misery Mire is going to be our last pendant.
Ooh, that's spicy.
That's my
The other thing we could find is the Eastern Big Key. That would give us 2 items.
That it would.
Alright, Kyong gonna show us what's here on the right-hand side. zer0rush will not have that Desert Small going into Desert. Looks like he is gonna be following that play as well.
But there's silvers.
Okay, that's a relief. Won't have to hunt for silvers. That means that Ganon will be much more manageable.
And another Mire useless key.
Does now have all of the Mire keys, so maybe, just like having all of those pod keys led us to the book, maybe all of those Mire keys is going to lead us to something else.
Yeah, we have not seen the Firelock side of Mire just yet, so could.
Hammer Dash does not do damage to enemies. You will just bonk off of enemies if you do not have a sword while Hammer Dash. Unfortunately, all item dashes are interrupted when bonking if you don't have a sword. And in fact, you can't even do them without the sword.
No, yeah.
The sword lets you dash. You can See our sprites trying to hold out an invisible sword while we dash, and just does not work.
Alright, and to land mole as we go.
This is our last chance for progression in Desert. The Swilvers are, very much required in this mode, but they don't give us any kind of progression yet.
Yeah.
Kyong gonna show us some nice NMG strats here with some key dashes. You want to time your dash such that the 4 frames of the dash coincide with the end of the room and you do not bonk off the door.
Look very clean. Is going to use the fire rod to light these torches.
And we'll likely be setting up for the zero cycle landmo kill with those silver arrows.
zer0rush will unfortunately have to use the fire rod, which honestly isn't much slower.
And I was about to say Kyong was about to go for fire rod as well, but nope. Gets that zero cycle. Beautifully done.
So for chat, silvers were right side of Desert Palace.
And there is our third pendant. So much for the case of Samaria being locked in Ganon's tower, but we have a potential Samaria in Mire or the mirror. And if it is the mirror, then that means that we are going to have a required triple dip misery mire.
Ooh, that does not sound very fun. But sounds great as viewers for chat. Yeah. Alright, and back to Mire goes Kyong.
Again, the last possible place to be. So Desert was not our progression. I'm gonna find something in here. It's the mirror, Samaria, or something that's going to lead to them. Which could be the Titan's Mitts, it could be the mushroom, it could be the powder, or the shovel.
With that fire rod, much easier to do with this room, with fire rod and hook shot.
Yep, gets a 2-cycle mire too.
And zer0rush is hot on Kyong's footsteps. Coming in here as well.
Let's see how his mire 2 is going. Is going for hook shots and hammer strats. Well, looks like he wants to save that in magic.
There's my shot.
I said a fetch quest may be possible, but we've got one more chance for direct progression.
Alright, here we go. Gotta get through this cutscene room.
Alright, so is the game gonna be kind and give us direct progression on that shovel, or is it gonna be another fetch quest?
I think it's gonna be kind. I think the mirror's gonna be right there.
The Desert Palace Small was in Paradox Cave.
And there's a Skullwoods monkey. So yeah, next is that shovel.
And this is even more of a pain than in the regular game, because first we have to go into the light world, and then we have to walk all the way over to the shovel location. And if then that leads us to somewhere else in the dark world, then that's a pain, because we'll have to save and quit again. Kyong would love to see the mirror right about now. If he sees Samaria, it feels awful, because then you either have to go to Mire again for just one check, or you gotta go climb the mountain for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Canis Samaria would probably be the worst. At least if it's mirror, you can just mirror over here and go straight over to Swamp Palace.
Exactly. Alright, shovel. Give us something shiny.
No. Where's what's left?
Well, we've got that castle tower key. We've got the one other check in Aga Tower. And that's where Kyong is gonna head.
Does look like it. Now, what if the Eastern Big Key is sitting up there?
Oh gosh. Or the mushroom. The mushroom is another awful fetch quest in this mode because, again, you have to go into the light world first and then go all the way to the whip. You can't just flute there.
That's true. So technically this is a required double dip of Aga Tower. Because you had to get the Desert Big Key, which was sitting over here earlier.
Mm-hmm. Although the Desert Big Key didn't lead to anything.
It had Bombos.
Oh, no, that was the book that led to Bombos.
You're right. Oh, there's the mirror.
Alright, there's our shiny thing. Alright. So is Kyong gonna go dip into Turtle Rock now? That's a possibility. And pulling that hook shot out makes me think that he is.
And
nope, changed his mind.
It's gonna float away. Alright.
Alright, this is probably a swamp clear. That makes much more sense.
No. Floating 3. I don't know.
Oh, Smiths. I was gonna do Smiths and Swamp.
Okay, that makes sense.
And zer0rush checking Lumberjack. Nope, it is not there. But Aga is the play, Mr. zer0rush. You gotta go and get that, follow that castle tower key.
And that mirror actually will be... Okay, where was that castle tower key again?
He already has it. It was...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So it'll actually be really useful because they can just mirror up top there and go to Hera. Or be able to route that area a lot better, at least.
Indeed. And we'll have that lamp for the Dark Maze. But it's gonna go and check Dark Cross first.
As Kyong picks up the Smith. And the Smith has today for 10 rupees a big key to a rock.
Alright, that will be required, of course.
Yep.
Gonna go do our lovely slow hammer pegs.
Can't do any item dashes, so gotta do it slowly. And just a piece of heart and the hammer pegs. Not gonna pick that up. Over 15 hearts already. No point.
Alright, Kyong is gonna be in a good position here. We'll go back into the light world to turn in that purple chest, and then can do Swamp right away. We'll be able to flood the dam and then mirror back into the dark world to complete Swamp.
Yep.
Alright, zer0rush is on the mountain, but he is fluting away. To go back to pick up a potion. He's finally remembered that you can get these blue potions in this shop here. We are on the hunt for the Ice Rod and the Cane of Samaria for Go mode, or potentially items along the way. Titan's mitts are not required in inverted. Our Ganon's Tower entrance is at the top of Hyrule Castle, where Aga Tower normally is. And we can already enter Turtle Rock. And yes, one key first, and some keys along the way. So we'll need the Eastern Big Key, the Castle Tower Small Key.
And Ice Rod could easily be in... Oh, Half Magic is nice. But Ice Rod could easily be in GT just because it's a pendant.
Yes, indeedy.
Which is even worse than regular.
zer0rush is going to go make the play over to East Death Mountain, but is going to do the Dark Maze, and will get his mirror. I'm a little surprised he is putting off East Death Mountain with the 8 items available over there.
He's going to be happy when he finds the mirror, though.
He is, but this Dark Maze can be a little bit tricky to navigate. It's not one that a lot of runners have experience with. I'm certain zer0rush knows it, and oh, never mind, he's got the Fire Rod. It's fine.
And gets his mirror. Alright. He's going to save and quit, though. Isn't going to mirror out. Probably going to follow up the swamp first.
That's the most likely play. I think right now, since he's already left East Death Mountain for so long, he's very unlikely to do it right away. I think he'll follow other progression first.
Alright. And looks like Kyong is going for the bomb setup on Diver Down along with this bomb. This is a pretty nifty trick that I only found out about yesterday. If you time that bomb correctly, you can just walk into the other room and it sets off right there.
Yep. As it's exploding, you can go, and as soon as you transition into that room, it will flip the switch, so you won't need to go back.
And gets Diver Down. And flips the switch. And don't even have to go back. Just have to hop right back in the water.
Even got some nice bounce back from the fire snake to bounce into the water. So we'll see what's here on left side. We are looking for the Ice Rod, the Eastern Big Key, and a second Castle Tower key, as well as the Cane of Samaria.
Alright, and left side swamp today, just small key to Turtle Rock and some money.
Okay, so once we find Samaria, we can full clear Turtle Rock, including the vanilla big key chest. Gonna get to the meat of Swamp Palace. I imagine Kyong is gonna treat us to another Diver Down for the 2 flooded chests in the back.
Yep. He's gonna check this chest first.
And yeah, if there is nothing else here in Swamp Palace, the only other play is to go into Turtle Rock with that mirror. Ooh.
You know what would be really bad?
I think I was just thinking about that, but you go ahead.
The Swamp Big sitting up in Turtle Rock with the Cane of Samaria in Swamp Big chest.
Oh, you hate to see it. Look at those pixel perfect movements from Kyong to go and set up this bomb diver.
Oh, yes.
Having a little bit of trouble, though. You just want that bomb explosion to clip you into the rail like that.
There we go.
And you jump right over, and there's another Ganon's Tower small. Only the first, not really pixel, but the first bit of that water is actually water. The rest is just a water texture.
Mm-hmm.
And this is live. Essentially, it is on tape, 10-minute tape delay, so much so that the runners can have a fair match.
And zer0rush also gets the diver down with the bomb setup.
Kyong gonna go and treat us to everyone's favorite menu boss. No, I'm kidding. Nobody loves menu Argus. This is arguably the worst part of swordless mode, is having to do this fight.
Absolutely. I have seen some runners be able to hook 2 different puffs, just like Kyong is doing right now, which makes it a little bit quicker.
And yeah, the diver down glitch, as we're waiting for this menu fight to go, if you clip through the rail, you will skip the portion of the water that's actually water, and the game won't check to see if you're swimming or not. So it looks like you're walking on water, but really you're not. You're just walking. It's only a little bit of the water that's actually water there.
Yep. And that is Kyong's crystal.
All right,
Fifth
and
crystal.
that's it for Swamp Palace. So we're gonna be going on to Turtle Rock. Can check everything can only check Laser Bridge and Crystal Roller Room in Turtle Rock. And then we could walk to the Vanilla Big Key Chest and Swamp. Not Swamp, Chomps.
Yes.
Oh, and the big chest, of course. With some convenient mirroring.
And Kyong looks to be headed straight there.
I'll have to see which entrance he decides to go into first. Laser Bridge is the most dense with the 4 items there. But you can have the most convenient routing if you do the big key chest first. Or the big chest first, since then you can go and route in the Vanilla Big Key Chest and Chomp Chest along the same entrance. Each one of these requires a separate drop down off the mountain, and he is going to do the big chest first.
And there's Mitts. Well, okay.
That only gives us King's Tomb.
Oh.
He's going to be able to get to Crystal Roller Room here. Then we'll be able to mirror and check the Vanilla Big Chest or Big Key Chest and change.
There's Powder.
Okay.
Another fetch quest.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Turtle Rock, since you're just going to the same room anyway. It'd be a little bit different if you didn't have Hookshot or Samaria.
That's true.
On our way to the Vanilla Big Key Chest, which is a useless map of Pod. So one more chest available in this route into Turtle Rock, which is Chomps. And unless this is Samaria, we'll have to mirror out and reclimb the mountain.
This is another one of those rooms that gets a little bit more annoying when you're coming at it from the back. But just having that mirror allows you to get out real quick. Otherwise, you have to use a key either door to get out.
So that Turtle Rock Big Key. Where was it that zer0rush doesn't have it? Was that in Hera as well?
I think it was on Eastern Death Mountain.
Oh, that's also in East Death Mountain.
I think so.
Okay.
Or Smith.
So,
Or Smith. Smith.
oh,
That's
it was
right.
Smith. Okay, so zer0rush is on his way to get that right now.
Yes.
And now Kyong gonna go drop down the middle of the mountain, and this is the way to Laser Bridge. So one of these 4 chests is going to have possibly some progression. It could also be in King's Tomb or on that powder. Nice use of the iframes from Kyong, but then he just hook shots the beetle off the bridge. And there's our other fetch quest. All right, we found them all.
Yep.
We found all the fetch quests.
Could be on that mushroom. Small key to ice. And 10 arrows. So it's on a fetch quest.
We have 3 fetch quests and we're missing 3 items. Are we going to be so lucky that all 3 of them will be behind these fetch quests?
Of course not.
So again, still looking for that Cane of Samaria, Eastern Big Key, also the Ice Rod and the Castle Tower Small.
And looks like Kyong is headed for powder first.
Makes sense. Go into the Light World, do powder, then you can run over, do King's Tomb, and then run all the way over to the Witch.
Yes. Good way to just sprout it up in a semicircle there. Alright, come on, Swamp Big.
Oh, no.
No.
No. It was bad enough that there is all of these awful one-offs and having a logical triple dip mire.
That's fair. That is
Gross.
very fair. Uh-oh.
Big key to Eastern Palace.
Okay.
That was the last big key to find.
There we go.
All right, that is 2 more items at least.
Yep, because that also opens up that Pyramid Fairy. As zer0rush gets that big key to TR.
Alright, so 2 items itself in Eastern, 2 more behind Pyramid Fairy. And then we also have King's Tomb and Mushroom left on the map. But both of those could be routed in after Pyramid Fairy, and yeah, clear this crystal.
Yep. That gets you 1 closer to being done, so. There's always the ABCD, always be clearing crystal dungeons. A little bit less than all dungeons, but still nice.
Alright, zer0rush gets that compass. And he knows now it's time to go to Turtle Rock. So will he know his inverted knowledge as to how to enter Turtle Rock from the back to go and get that powder? Looks like zer0rush is going back into Swamp.
I think we got all the items, right?
Did they not do left side?
No, they did left side, I think. Yeah, because we saw the diver down with the bomb setup.
So you think he forgot something in here?
Didn't open the big chest because they don't have the big key. Unless they just picked it up and I missed it?
No, they didn't, because they've done the
Yeah.
same checks that Kyong has. Oh, he forgot the compass chest.
Ah.
Oh, that's an easy one to forget. Oh. Alright. Kyong being furious with those silver arrows. Gonna reload more than he needs for Armos.
and just a small piece of heart on Armos.
Alright, so Eastern itself wasn't the play. Maybe it's the Pyramid Fairy. I feel like an hour ago we were only the Eastern Big Key and the Fire Rod away from this Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, we really were. And I think zer0rush has maybe forgotten about Eastern Death Mountain and Hera.
Feels like it. That's
a lot of time in menu there.
Or he might have just remembered. No, he's staring at his flute screen trying to figure out what happened. Oh no. So
maybe he thinks he needs mitts to get to it?
I mean, he knows he can get to regular Death Mountain where you would just use the hookshot normally to get over to East Death Mountain. So that should just be natural for him. That is like, oh, if I go to the regular Old Man Rescue Cave, I can just continue on east and hookshot across.
Yeah. Don't know. And
Kyong is going to go and set up for a dupe. If you screen transition on the 0, the bomb will magically follow you, and you get to...
That's not a dupe I've seen.
Yep, it's on any screen transition you can do it, so you can do it with the mirror. The more common one is to do it on the screen with the Henoxes, just to the east of here.
Yep. Alright, and Pyramid Fairy has 50 rupees and a single rupee, so back to our fetch quests.
Okay. Mushroomer King's Tomb, get your guesses in chat. So this is an all dungeon seed. We are still looking for the Ice Rod to complete Turtle Rock, the second Castle Tower key to complete Castle Tower, and we also need that Cane of Samaria for Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. Kyong has showed us everything that we can see in Logic except for this Mushroom Turn-In and the Titan's Mitts, both of which we found in Turtle Rock. zer0rush seems a little confused that he thinks that he needs Titan's Mitts to access East Death Mountain, but because he has access to the Light World and the Hookshot, he can just go right over there.
Yeah. And on the mushroom we have our cane. There it is.
Alrighty. Okay, so that's Misery Mire completable. Still looking for the Ice Rod and the Castle Tower Small. And I don't blame Kyong for just checking this King's Tomb when he's at it.
And it's right here. Quick check.
Now, as Turtle Rock is the green pendant, that Ice Rod can be in Ganon's Tower.
And so can that Castle Tower Small.
That Castle Tower Small key could also be on the green pendant.
That it could. And to Mire goes Kyong.
Yep, this is the clearable crystal. It's only one item, but you might as well take care of that crystal. And you know what? You might just go and do Ganon's Tower. You have to do it anyway. It's got a lot of item density. That Cane of Samaria in Turtle Rock is only going to give you 3 items in the front. This was the required triple dip mire. We had to go in here early for the hook shot. That led directly to our fire rod. That fire rod gave us access to the lamp. That lamp gave us access to the mirror in Aga Tower, and the mirror gave us access to the Smith chain to give us the Turtle Rock big key, which gave us access to the mushroom for the Cane of Samaria.
That logic chain is one that I do not envy.
And yeah, zer0rush seems a little bit confused. Doesn't realize that he has access to all of East Death Mountain as well as can clear Tower of Hera.
Maybe he thinks he already did it? Because he did get the fire rod up there?
But he got that off of the, Hookshot Cave, which is in Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, so maybe...
Alright, I think he's figured it out. He's got to go up to the portal and then hookshot across. Nice spooky from Kyong. Remember, didn't need to do the first room because he's already been in here earlier and didn't flip the switch again.
Yep. Alright, and here we go. zer0rush making the right play now.
Alright. I'm sure he already feels behind, not only having to, was doing some rechecks and staring at his menu for a few minutes, but is gonna find that desert small key, which will lead to his silver arrows, and it will also give him the lamp that puts that mirror in logic. Kyong pops a bunch of eyeballs, gets some bombs. And that's his 7th crystal, and we will see. We don't have to play the GT Big Key guessing game. We found that GT Big Key very early.
Yeah, but you're still gonna go clear out the rest of GT looking for that ice rod, so...
Do you, or do you check those first 3 things in Turtle Rock to begin with?
I think you leave Turtle Rock alone. I think you go up and do GT first.
And looks like that's what Kyong is going to do, just to avoid the extra mountain climb.
Yeah, because
You're gonna
have to go up to do Castle Tower anyways, so...
So this will likely be a full basement clear from Kyong to look for that Castle Tower Small and the Ice Rod. Chat, don't even talk about that Swamp Palace Big Key. There's nothing in it. It doesn't exist. Nobody cares about it.
It's just
nobody cares about Swamp Palace.
Or our final sword that we can't get. That's what it's probably...
Exactly. Oh, and here's the ether tablet. I don't think that Kyong checked this.
I think he did when he was up at Hera.
Okay, well, it's just a piece of heart. And here we go. Get that crystal cutscene.
For chat, we are inverted, swordless key sanity, all dungeon.
And Kyong is just going to climb the tower. This also makes sense. You check the 4 at the top to begin with. Take care of this Aga 2 kill, and then if you need to go back in here looking for items, it's not too bad.
The bug net would have been nice right now for Aga 2, but we can do it with Hammer.
And zer0rush is going to do some pause, spin speed strats to get that Hera pot.
Into the gauntlet goes Kyong.
Alright. Silver Arrows, half magic fire rod is gonna use that Zizak is just being rude as heck. How dare he avoid all of those fire rod shots?
Luckily the Stalfos was not of the same opinion.
Kyong does have a blue potion in inventory, but isn't worried about magic just yet, even though we're climbing Ganon's tower. Not going to be able to defeat Ganon just yet. As this is all dungeons, we still need to take care of Turtle Rock and Aga 1. And yeah, there is a question about if zer0rush will go back to Desert Palace to get his silvers.
They haven't done Meyer yet, so it's pretty easy to just mirror over from there, but...
No, you can't.
Oh, duh, yes, inverted.
But he will get his Titan's Mitts in Turtle Rock, so then he can flute to 6, go to Desert, and then mirror from Desert into Meyer.
Yes. But still, it's going to be hard to go in a dungeon, especially after losing that time on the menu there for a while.
Yeah.
Go back into one you've already completed.
I don't know. It's hard to say if you're zer0rush, because he's going to go into Turtle Rock and find all these fetch quests. He's going to find his Titan's Mitts for King's Tomb. He's going to find that powder. He's going to find the mushroom, and all of those are just one item, but desert is 2.
That's true. Kyong's making quick work of this gauntlet. Is already out.
Alright, are we going to be lucky and these 2 items are just right here at the top of Ganon's tower?
There's a small key to this dungeon. And a map to Hyrule Castle.
Oh, talk about awful.
Yup. Very
Alright, zer0rush. Doing Mimic Cave, and then we'll mirror to do the same Turtle Rock route that Kyong did.
There's another small key.
Oh, okay. That's one of them. Maybe our Ice Rod is behind Moldorm 2. Kyong is hoping for it so he can be in go mode. Come on, Moldorm 2, give us something good.
Alright, and in Moldorm's last possessions, we have a shield.
Ah. Alright, so our Ice Rod is elsewhere. Could be in the basement of Ganon's tower, or could be in those 3 remaining chests in Turtle Rock.
I think the likelihood of being in GT is very high, because there's so many checks there.
Exactly. There's 23 more checks to do down in the basement. The 22 usual, big key guessing game locations, as well as the big chest itself. And we are on to Aga 2.
That was a double. Nice.
Going for the hammer strats.
Ooh.
I don't think we've actually found the bug net, have we?
No bug net. That was a nice hammer hit though on that one. So that's 3. 4.
If you can get 1 per phase with hammer Aga 2, you're feeling saucy. You're feeling pretty good.
Absolutely.
There's no shame in missing a cycle with hammer Aga 2.
There we go.
Alright, that's Aga 2 down, so we just have 2 more dungeons left to do. And just like regular seeds, we are on a Ice Rod hunt for a pendant Turtle Rock.
That is the only thing that sucks about all dungeon seeds, is when TR is a pendant. That Ice Rod can be literally anywhere.
But you know what? Now that Kyong has that, it's time to go right back into Ganon's tower. Here we go. 23 more checks.
Very convenient. Alright, 10 arrows and a compass.
With all the keys we have, no sense not going right.
Do you gamble tile room here? No.
I think I would have. I think I would have played this like an entrance seed and did tile room first.
Yeah, that's fair.
We have people guessing what number of Ganon's tower this Ice Rod is in. But, this is not the last location. We still have that Turtle Rock. zer0rush.
And our last bottle.
Alright, zer0rush getting his whole lot of nothing from Laser Bridge, and we'll have to decide what fetch quest to follow.
And gets the all-important mushroom.
Which is the most important one to follow. Although the powder is also important, as it gives us that Eastern Talus big key.
True.
Alright, into Stalthos room.
Money, and hearts.
Alright, with this routing, looks like zer0rush is going to turn in that mushroom first. Could be the plated desert, though.
Looks like it's desert. We'll get
Okay.
that. Or
no,
not.
it is mushroom.
Yeah, this is a nice portal to take. No, it's... Yep, okay, I thought maybe you was going to King's Tomb first.
Yeah, you can do mushroom into King's Tomb, into then powder. Although finding Samaria here, I wonder if he'll do the same thing, because Kyong found that Eastern Big Key first, then did Eastern and Pyramid Fairy. Finding Samaria first, he may go and check the front of Turtle Rock. And then that one item in Mire.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Would be a good idea, or might be his first idea after getting that. And looks like he is saving Quidden.
Alright, so 208 into the scene. Kyong is on an ice rod hunt to find our last item for this all dungeon seed. There's the bug net after we've defeated Aga 2. We'll have it for Aga 1 at least.
Yeah, that's nice still.
This kind of seed, it was inverted, so we started in the Dark World, but found early Light World access with an early Hammer Glove and Moon Pearl. And then we just kind of followed our noses. We found a book in Pod that led us to the Bombos Medallion on Desert Ledge, which gave us access into Mire for the hookshot. That hookshot gave us the fire rod in the hookshot cave, which gave us access to the lamp in the basement of Hera. zer0rush has yet to pick that up. That lamp gave us access to the mirror for Swamp Palace, and Swamp Palace really didn't have much of anything, did it?
No, but that mirror did lead us to the mushroom sitting in TR, so...
Exactly.
And also the powder, which had our Eastern Palace Big Key.
Yep. Eastern was required. It was the other half of Pyramid Fairy, but didn't lead us to anything.
There it is, in
the
big key chest.
So at 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 41 seconds, Kyong is in go mode, and zer0rush is going to show us here what's on the front of Turtle Rock.
And there's would have been our third sword.
Alright, Kyong is gonna do Turtle Rock first, and then we'll finish up with Aga 1, which will put him right on top of Hyrule Castle to drop down and defeat Ganon.
And zer0rush is about to get their silvers. And with those mitts, can use this Turtle Rock entrance instead of Turtle Rock portal quite faster.
Yep, and is going to jump right down to Laser Bridge and make their way to Trinex. With Half Magic and Hammer, this will not be a difficult Trinex fight for Kyong. He does still have a blue potion in his back pocket, but will likely be saving that for the Ganon fight.
Will be menu strats, but won't be too bad.
It's something that's, relatively common. If you come into Trinex with a fighter sword, you're going to be doing hammer strats on Trinex regardless.
I don't normally see backdoor hammer strats on Trinex, though.
That's because Kyong is a beast.
That's true, he is. And spams those fire rod shots on the ice head.
Why not? You don't need your magic for phase 2, and he's got a blue potion to spare. Alright, into phase 2, even sets up the perfect perfect hammer hits for almost a perfectly quick phase 2, and with red mail and 17 hearts, doesn't care about tanking the damage, and that's going to be the last pendant for Kyong. And there's that Swamp Palace Big Key. See, I told you the Swamp Palace Big Key was not important, and all of you people who are saying the Ice Rod is in Swamp Palace, whew, there you go. Swamp Palace Big Chest was behind the Ice Rod, so ha!
That it was.
Maybe that's where our fourth sword is.
Alright, and then to Aga Tower goes Kyong.
Yep, this will be Kyong's second trip into Aga Tower. First one was to grab the mirror from the Dark Maze.
This was actually their third trip, wouldn't it?
Was it
Desert
Kyong?
Palace Big Key. I think they both.
They both have to double dip it?
I think they both triple dipped it, but
Yeah, I think they did. Yep.
logically just a double dip, but yeah. And since it's already killed all the enemies and whatnot, they can just go straight to the back. Straight to the top.
Exactly. Question in chat if Kyong knows swordless silverless Ganon? Or swordless silver's Ganon. I imagine he probably does.
We did pick them out after all.
Exactly. Yeah, the lamp is in Hera basement. zer0rush did have that Hera small key, but I'm sure feels very behind since he forgot that he could access East Death Mountain with just the hook shot and Light World access, and left that Desert Big Key and his access to Turtle Rock in there for quite a while. And at this point, he doesn't really need the lamp, although it would be nice for Castle Tower.
Alright, and going into Aghanim as zer0rush completes Fiddy, how many blue balls do you think we'll see on Aghanim 1?
3.
I'm gonna say 0. I hope the seat's just nice after this whole triple dip mire and whatnot.
We shall see. Unlike the Geometry Wizard, Aga 1 is somehow both shorter and longer. You can't ever get those triple hits. If you've never seen the Aga fight before, and we do have the bug net this time. First hit, always a reflectable. 2 through 4 have a 50-50 shot of being a reflectable just like that, or one of these nasty blue balls that does not hit Aga, but we're getting great RNG so far. Kyong showing off those swaggy bug net strats.
And there's the first blue ball. And unfortunately, zer0rush is checking King's Tomb before Powder.
Alright, so we'll be last locationing his eastern big key. So the picks for this seed, and we will be talking to Kyong and asking him about why he picked these settings. This swordless inverted all dungeons key sanity run. zer0rush's veto was to veto Fast Ganon. He could have vetoed any of these other things as well, but he chose to veto Fast Ganon. And just like that, time to drop down into this Ganon fight, the final boss of this all dungeons run.
Hammer does same damage as Tempered Sword, so shouldn't be too long.
zer0rush is back up the mountain to check the basement of Hera. And is going to be disappointed that it's just the lamp and he needs to go and check that powder. Or did he not grab powder from Turtle Rock yet?
I thought he did. No, it's not on his menu.
Huh. Oh no.
Huh. Oh, he skipped Crystal Roll Room, our lovely tracker is telling us. Thank you for keeping us on track.
Okay, anyway. Ganon fight. Kyong, phase 3. you gotta do these hammer hits. It's a little bit tricky, of course, because Ganon likes to teleport to the top of the room, and we all know that hammering up is literally the worst.
That it is.
And we do have the silver arrows. It is theoretically possible to do Ganon with just the hammer, but that invulnerable phase, as he's teleporting away, is mere frames, and you do not have the extended frames of the sword swing with the hammer.
And one last silver arrow, and Ganon is down.
And that's all 4 silver arrows. All that stands between Kyong and victory is this 1x3 bridge.
Alright, and Kyong is finished with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 29 seconds.
We'll get some big GGs in chat for Kyong of Kinda Rando Retired, who has now tied this series up. And we will get Kyong in here for an interview.
And unfortunately, zer0rush has forfeited right afterwards. But GG to him as well. Welcome, Kyong, to the commentary booth. How was the seed?
Hey. That seed was special for sure.
So tell us the truth. You picked this mode because you figured it would be fun, right?
I actually don't mind playing these settings, which is a big part of the reason why I chose it, and also a lot of people aren't that prepared for this kind of mode as well.
I mean,
it is true that most people don't enjoy this kind of settings, so may as well, especially in a tourney setting, to abuse that.
Well, we had fun calling it and trying to figure out the logic. How did it feel to be literal last location, at least on 5 or 6 locations?
Well, it wasn't great. There were a lot of situations there where I had to take my call on what to do on multiple mediocre to bad options, and yeah, it didn't feel too great, but I mean, the only thing I could do is do everything as most efficiently as possible, really.
That's fair. The seed did point to an early pod. Were you thinking that with the 2? I know it's really awful to go into pod with just 2 small keys, even though you've got the hammer and the bow, but that would have led you to your book earlier. Did that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, it was sort of, because usually it's nice to either go to pod super early, so you will like do the first few checks and then you go later to finish it. But this one we had like enough keys to technically kill Helm as well, but we didn't have any fire source, so I was like, maybe I should delay it a little bit to see if I get a fire source so I can kill Helm on my first trip as well. But it's such an awkward situation.
And then, of course, it was a classic situation of bombos, locking hookshot, locking fire rod, locking lamp.
Yeah, it happens every time, really.
And then required triple dip mire. That's a thing that can happen.
Yeah, it was definitely above average on times for this kind of setting for me.
Almost a full clear here. You got to leave a couple of chests in Ganon's tower unchecked. Classic ice rod hunt once again.
A whole 3 chests. Yep.
Yeah, so you do get the win for Kinda Rando retired. You get even the series up after the win that Railkin pulled out this afternoon, so you feel pretty good about that?
Yeah, definitely. We need to start thinking about scheduling games 4 and 5. Furaimi is gonna have his match against Gone Wild tomorrow evening, so we'll see what will happen after that.
That looks like it's actually on Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Thursday at 8:10
Oh.
p.m. Eastern.
I thought they rescheduled to tomorrow. Okay, my fault.
That's all right. And that one, since it's the green pendant matchup, will just be an open 7-7 defeat Ganon. So none of these seeds, but there will be a game 4 at some point, and it will be whoever the player is on I Like Big Boots, and probably not likely to repeat these settings. GG's Kyong. I imagine you'd like to go and speak to our colleagues over on SpeedGaming Portuguese, and we'll do an interview with them as well. So thanks for interviewing with us. Thanks for racing.
Thanks for the restream commentary and tracking everything. Always appreciate it.
Absolutely. So please give a follow to Kyong, the winner of this race, and the power pendant on Kinda Rando Retired. You'll be going over to Speed Gaming Portuguese to complete your interview there as well?
Yeah, I'll check if they're still there, I guess.
They've already signed off. Looks like zer0rush needed to go and step away, so won't be able to get an interview from him. But we would invite you to please follow both of our runners. They're both incredibly experienced rando runners, excellent at routing and execution, as is demonstrated by the fact that they were able to full clear this kind of seed, even with all the double dips and the weird inverted logics. It's free, it helps them out, and you get a lot of fun entertainment. Also, big shout-outs to Oro, our tracker, keeping us on top of things in terms of keys. And Anticium, thanks for co-comming with me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it was great co-comming with you as well. It always is. So go ahead, give Mind of Me a follow too. She's awesome.
Any last words, Kyong or Anticium?
Nothing from me.
All right, well, we're pretty much wrapped up on league action for tonight. There is one match that may still be continuing over on Speed Gaming 2, which is CLW represented by Pika Pals versus Double Dippers represented by Swagalicious. You could possibly check that out. Otherwise, there is a full slate of races tomorrow starting at 2:10 p.m. Eastern. There's going to be Hime versus Team Awesome, Last Locationers versus Error 216, Clown Parade versus Pug Trio, and Team Kappa versus WJTBTBB. Ferrame will give an interview for Win versus OP Get Good, Vendrana Drifters versus the Titans Mitts, and the Game 3 of Pug Trio versus Cloud Parade. And one more match between Double Dippers and CLW. So be sure to follow Speed Gaming 2 through 6 to keep abreast of all of those matches. And for that, be sure to take a look at the ALTTPR League matchup, ALTTPR playoff matchups on the ALTTPR League website. But for that, I think we'll wrap up. GG's once again to Kyong, and well played, and have a good night, folks.